to Board Game Homies, where a group of friends play, review, and share about all things board games. Sitting around the table today are Reed,
Becky,
Gillean,
and I'm Angela. Today we'll be talking about Feya Swamp, aka a game with muddy swamps where our friend Reed dare not travel because her all-terrain scooter would get stuck. But first, what's bringing you joy?
Reed's all-terrain scooter.
Yeah, actually.
Beep beep.
Okay, so that lovely entrance into my joy game, which is a deck of cards. I recently traveled where I broke my leg, as I mentioned in the previous podcast, and definitely now have a fancy all-terrain scooter. But when I traveled, I was like, should I bring games? No, I brought a deck of cards. I did not play a deck of cards because I was so burnt out from having broken my leg right away. But a deck of cards is so versatile and only like a few dollars.
Didn't your mom want to play Mini Azul and you didn't bring it? And so actually that's not true.
I don't own a Mini Azul anymore, but I should have asked to borrow it. I wouldn't have probably played it.
The answer is yes. Your mom wanted to play Mini Azul.
That's true. Thank you for remembering that. I don't feel bad at all. My mom's been like helping me out so much with my one-leggedness.
Oh, you should buy her Mini Azul.
Oh, she might like that.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah. Also, a deck of cards, I mean, that takes up no space in your suitcase.
Or your bag, purse.
Or your bag, yeah. I thought about saying that, but I do have a deck of cards in my purse that I carry around everywhere, and we don't really use it. And I'm always like, why do I have this in here? There's too much stuff in here.
Because sometime you might need that deck of cards.
No, exactly. When I have taken it out, then I'm like, oh, man, we could have played a game with the cards. But I'm probably just thinking it because I took it out of my purse.
I don't think I realized that you had a deck of cards on you at all times.
Oh, well, yeah. I knew that.
It goes through phases. I didn't for a while when we could have used it, and now it's back in my purse.
She carries a knife and a deck of cards.
Well, one time, Becky and I were waiting on some carry-out food, and we didn't have a deck of cards, and we just played that middle school square drawing game, which we've talked about on this podcast before.
That's
Wait,
true.
Hopscotch?
Yeah, no, you connect the dots. It's weird. Don't get them started.
You make a grid you make a grid of dots, and then you take turns drawing lines, and when you box it in, you get to put your initial.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's a game I learned from my grandmother, okay?
The cheater.
Yep.
She didn't cheat in that game, I think.
I don't know if you know that for sure, though.
That's true. But I do know that my joy game is Carcassonne, probably again. I feel like I was happy about it recently, but it's hard to remember. We've been playing it on BGA, and I love that game so much, other than being yellow, which is the stupidest thing ever. I have no idea who I am. But we did play, because of BGA, I was excited, and we played it, a 3-player game, while Angela was out of town. Gillean, Reed, and I played. Which also, I was looking to verify that we had played it recently, and then I forgot that Reed won instead of me.
It was one of the few instances where I got stomped in Carcassonne, and it was all because you guys teamed up on the multiplier cities, and that was unfortunate, because that was the one time I decided not to fight for cities, and yet you guys formed this collective of Uber points.
We didn't form it willingly, but yeah, you did not jump in to be part of the points.
Recently, I played the city stealing strategy, and it totally backfired because I had no points of my own because I was just trying to build the biggest city, and it did not work.
It's a balance. You just, like, in the game online right now, Hummingbell has a really big city that I'm really trying to be a part of because she can't have that all to herself. Like, that is way too many points for one person to get in Carcassonne.
I think my Carcassonne game needs to improve with understanding the farmlands.
I think you guys need to play in person. I think we need to play in person to iron out the rules for you.
Yeah. All right. I'm playing
With
Carcassonne
Becky's
after
iron
this.
fist.
Yeah.
Angela and I used to be so nice when we played that game.
No, then you're not really playing the game.
How it's intended to be played.
Yeah. Are you French or not French? I ask that because the French are mean on PGA.
And when protecting their farmlands and castles.
in Carcassonne, the board game?
What's bringing me joy is actually not really a game, but just mainly a process that I've been going through lately. Over the past few weeks, I've definitely felt overwhelmed by just the sheer number of games that we own that we have not yet played. And I know Angela's brought it up quite a few times, and it just really hit me a few weeks back. And so I've tried to make a concerted effort of learning a new game each weekend and playing it a couple times over the week so that we make it through our backlog, essentially. And so that's actually kind of what spawned our previous episode, Luthier, and also this episode, Feya Swamp, because I learned both games. Becky and I played them, and then we taught the homies and played enough times to record. So it's already proven fruitful, I should say. And actually up on the table right now, I have Carnegie on the table. And that's a game I bought like a year and a half ago at this point and have yet to play. So that's something I've been very proud of in terms of the past few weeks. And hopefully I can keep that train rolling and I can keep learning a new game each week and getting on the table so we can reduce our backlog.
I am very impressed by that, and also it's been very enjoyable.
I endorse this moment in time. I think it's really fun to get to have the enthusiasm and buzz of new games.
I agree. I benefit. And in fact, it leads me into my joy game, which I want to talk about because I do not own it. Gillean does. And maybe it'll make it to the top of the games he is going to learn for the rest of us, which is, I'll just read the intro. Welcome to Sweetlands, the kingdom of delightful confections. The former king has succumbed to his gluttonous love for sweets, leaving behind a final decree. Summoned by this royal etiquette, you and your fellow players are challenged to build the most magnificent city. And if you succeed, you will ascend as the new ruler of Sweetlands. Anyway, I'm really excited about this game. And I don't teach it and I don't own it. So we'll see if it makes it to Gillian's list.
Yeah, it's on the short list for sure.
Heck yeah.
You know what's weird? That was almost my joy game.
Whoa.
You know what? Just saying, Uchibakoya is coming out with Rosalie in July on Kickstarter, which is kind of the next game in that line. Has the same artist and kind of a similar feel, I think, to Sweetlands. It's about building your own rose garden.
Got to get the candy game played first.
I know. See if I like it, and then see what we think of the idea of Rosalie.
Wait, I'm more excited about rose gardens.
How dare you?
Okay, sorry.
And candy?
I mean,
Wow.
I am really excited. Wait.
Okay, everybody. We're accepting second round of applications.
Stop. I'm very excited about Sweetlands, but now I'm more excited about rose gardens.
That was not the reaction I was expecting.
Well, okay. My first thought was, okay, well, Angela's not going to buy it because she's not spending money on board games. And can we really get Reed to buy a Kickstarter about roses? Probably not. But so that means it's us.
We need to play Sweetlands before it comes on Kickstarter in July. So that's the timeline.
Okay. Sweetlands. Next.
After Carnegie.
Done.
Will it fit on this table?
Reed.
It probably will, honestly.
If only Reed had two legs.
It's going to be fine.
Stairs
It's
are
going to be
hard.
fine. Feya's Swamp, published in 2025, plays 2 to 4 players. It's designed by Helge Ostertag, Anselm Ostertag, and the art is by Mihailo Dimitriousi. It's published by Grail Games and retails for $49.99. Gillian, how do we play Feya's Swamp?
In Feya's Swamp, players take on the role of different clans vying to be the most prosperous clan in the swamp. The game takes place over the course of 4 different rounds. In each round, the turn order will change depending on the guide that the players choose. The guides themselves will determine who goes first, second, third, and fourth, respectively, and each one will come with a specific ability that will help the players in the course of the game. They also have different modifiers to their sale values, which will allow players to move a specific number of spaces should they move throughout the swamp, and also determine the cost to build settlements throughout the swamp as well. Over the course of a round, players will place workers on different action spaces to execute those actions. They're split into 2 different types. The first being boat actions, which will allow players to sail throughout the swamp to execute different actions, including fishing, in which players will fish depending on the fish that are available during that round or season. The other being building settlements on different islands by playing gold depending on the number of spirit tiles that are present, as well as the value on their guide for that round. And players can also deliver to different islands, or rather settlements. If they deliver to their own, they won't get any immediate benefit, but will score victory points based on the number of fish delivered. But if they deliver to their opponents, they'll gain money, which will help them execute different actions over the course of the game. The last boat action is to essentially just sail farther. So you'll get a modifier +2 to your sail, and you'll be able to go anywhere you want without having to execute an action. But you can also use this movement in order to visit various temples throughout the map. There are 5. Most of these temple tiles will give you victory points, and some might also give you a resource or 2. The second tier of actions that players can take throughout the game are land actions. These don't involve moving your boats throughout the swamp, but they do allow you to get additional victory points or improve your abilities throughout the rest of the game. The first being the sail action, where going to that space will allow you to move up the sail track on your personal player board, which will include a modifier to allow you to sail further in future actions that involve sailing. The other one is to throw a festival. So you can choose an island, and when you do so, you'll gain a number of victory points depending on the number of tiles with fish on them, and you'll also gain a modifier should a totem be present on that island. And then the final land action is to place a new spirit tile on an island as well as the totem, which will grant said modifiers should you throw a festival. Over the course of a round, players will place an action and execute it until they're no longer able to place a worker. At that point, they'll go ahead and pass, and each round will have a modifier that you'll get, which will allow you to execute an action in a future round, and also allow you to choose a new guide. After everybody is passed, you go into the second round with the new guide, determining the turn order for that next round, and play resumes until everybody has executed those actions, and then so on and so forth until 4 rounds are completed. At the end of those 4 rounds, whoever has the most victory points through the various means of fishing, sailing, throwing festivals, building settlements, and other end-game multipliers or scoring metrics will be the victor. And the most prosperous clan.
Okay, it has to be said, the fish tokens are freaking adorable.
The fish tokens are maybe my favorite illustration of any game we have ever played. That is a hot take.
You are the hot take, homie.
Yeah.
Does it beat the White Castle?
Read the hot take, homie.
The White Castle, I like the colors. This game, I like the fish.
Dear listener, this is an audio medium. The fish is just a cute drawing of a fish. It is not, it is, maybe somebody will post it on Instagram.
Or
It
Blue
does.
Sky, who knows?
Who knows?
It does look like one of those fishes that you just kind of draw in one little loop, but then they colored it in and made it really like cute and scaly.
The artist for this game, who goes by The Miko, has some of my favorite art in any game games that I've played. They've done the art for the Raiders of the North Sea and several of the early Garfield Games series. They did the the Imperial Horizons series, the deck builders, and and I've always enjoyed their artwork, and this is no exception.
I'm also a big fan of the artwork. I've really loved it in Raiders of the North Sea, and we have some of that art printed and on our wall. Actually, I'd reached out to Garfield, the designer, and he sent me a couple of files, which is kind of wild. But Reed, maybe you need this fish on your other foot.
I do love this fish.
As far as the other aspects of the game, the components are pretty straightforward. You have wooden tokens for your ships, for your workers. But what I really love is that each of the different clans are represented by alligators, turtles, salamanders, and frogs. And each of them has a unique meeple for them, which is really nice. Like I'm blue, which is the gators, and I have a little gator meeple. And so I thought that was really adorable in the game, and I appreciated that. And the boats are all the same; they're just different colors. But given the cost of the game and the small footprint of it, I think it's pretty well produced. And I love the linen finish on the player, or not the player boards. Well, I guess player boards as well, but the main map. I love the finish on that. It just looks really nice with the coloring and whatnot.
I think this is definitely a solid production and what I would expect board games to be, especially at that price point.
Oh, we are like not talking very much about the art, given how much we love it. It's like
Well, here's the thing. There aren't a lot of places where the art shows up. Like the box, beautiful. The rule book, beautiful. But when you're playing it, you don't interact with that as much. We don't have cards like we do in other games, so we don't get to see how great the art is in it throughout the play.
I would say the main area where the art really shows up is the guides that you choose, because each of those cards has a unique piece of art. And I really liked that because I would often take the number one guide, which is really expensive to build settlements, not great for sailing, but allows you to block off a space. But there's a gator on there that has a sword, and the little token that allows you to block out a space is a sword slammed into the ground. And I liked that. And that was cool.
I have never gotten that one, so I've not seen it up close.
I'm actually thinking that I don't think I've really noticed the art on the guide cards. There's only one that I think it's the card I take the most.
Which is the 8 coin one?
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, the aesthetic is really nice. The color palette, I think, jumps out for me. Very swamp-ish level of colors. It's very immersive within that. The components are fine. Like there's nothing necessarily to write home about. The meeples are cute, but I wish, of course, that they were screen printed. I think there are bits there. It's funny when you had the game out and then we look up the price for games at almost $50. I just had to say, is this just what games cost now? I think that's where I was. This isn't anything that blows me away. Sure, there's wooden meeples, which is nice, and the production is great, the art is great, but nothing about it says this is above and beyond if you're going to spend $50, it's on this game. But I also think maybe that's just the cost of games. So, I mean, even when I bought the Lord of the Rings game, which is a roll and write, and I haven't seen all of the art in it, it was $40. And I was like, are we just at this level where $40, $50, $60 is the base price? And so if that's the assumption, then I think this game, it's fine.
Listeners, Angela's taken a 6-month break of buying games, and now she's blown away by the cost of games.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I'm like, this is what I expect out of a $50 game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've always assumed, I don't do the game purchasing, obviously, but I'm pretty sure most games are $60. That's kind of
It's kind of the average price for a kind of game of this type.
So the 50 makes sense.
And I appreciate it. It kind of goes contrary to that maybe, but this game feels very minimalist, and I like that about it. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles. It doesn't have the superfluous baton that you use to point out what you're doing. It doesn't have this neck of the violin that you use to track the actions that are resolving.
Luthier hate on this pod.
I mean, I don't hate Luthier for that, but I appreciate it in its own way that this seems like a very minimalistic design.
It does kind of give me peasant castle vibes, and I think a big part of it are the cardboard tiles.
Whoa. Peasant.
The hexes.
Peasant.
The hexes, yeah.
These are definitely higher quality hexes than the hexes in peasant castles.
Yes, they are. And, okay, the gems, great.
The gems are great.
The gems are great.
Those are really special. That was the thing.
Frosted.
When we came to the table and saw the game all set up, all of Gillian's wonderful doing, it was the gems that caught my eye. And I think you two across the table as well, Angela and Reed, you were like, ooh, look at these.
No, I was still stuck on the fish.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, they're very
The
exciting.
fish and the gems.
They're like Everbell berry color, but frosty and hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a solid, well put together, aesthetically pleasing, perfect for the theme. level for what you pay. I think it's that vacation I had from buying things. I have a little bit of sticker shock where I'm like, this is $50, which $50 in the United States I get is very privileged, so it is much more expensive in other places as well. And also, that's a lot of money.
Thank you, Becky and Gillean, for bringing this game to the table.
I know, I feel like I'm like the cranky, like, $50.
Yeah, now you know
No,
why
that's-
I'm not going to buy the $100 Clank Anniversary Edition.
I mean,
so.
you should still buy that.
No, you should buy
Well, I mean,
Angela's already invested a lot of money in Clank.
that. Well,
Wait,
I've
she
invested
shouldn't
a lot
stop,
into
yeah.
Paul Denon.
How much did you pay for brass recently on the Kickstarter?
Becky, some things are
Don't-
worth it.
Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answers
Oh,
to.
she knows the answer to it. She just wants Angela to say it, so.
It was much money. It was at least 6 Feya swamps when it all is told. And
No, that's not true. Oh, I guess you did get the Brass Birmingham upgrade, too.
I did get that upgrade as well. Plus, you're going to pay a whole Feya swamp worth of shipping when it gets there.
I don't know. You could get a tin for just a few Feya swamps. A little brass tin.
Okay, now when we refer to how much a game costs, we should just say in Feya swamps. How many Feya swamps is this?
This is one Feya Swamp.
This is 1.5 Feya
three.
swamps.
This is 1.1 Feya Swamp.
But I think that for all the goofing and a gabbing, I think it is a well put together, aesthetically pleasing, nice looking game. And it's worth the price that it's paid right now.
Also, I just want to note, like, there's something about the blue of the swamp that just really catches my eye. I think it's just a very lovely shade of blue, teal, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, you
It
do
just
love a
looks really
blue.
nice. I do.
Is your
But
favorite.
it's really nice, and I just think the art really makes that pop, and I like that a lot.
Now I want to look at the board again to like really to know what that blue looks like. I'm trying to remember it, but what stood out to me are the fish on there. I think the little red, yellow, and blue fish are perfect. Like they really pop on the map, and I like that. Back to the fish, but they are so cute.
Well, those are different fish than the fish we were talking about, which were the fish tokens. But yeah, A+. All fish, A+.
Would you rather have those fish tokens than the fin span fish tokens?
Oh, those are so quirky. They're so quirky.
We've
don't
come
know
for the
I
hard-hitting
know.
questions, Reed. Which fish token do you prefer, fishes?
I'm speechless. I don't know.
For a
I
lady,
actually think I like these better.
whoa.
Gasp.
That was going to be my joy game, but I absolutely forgot the new Finspan expansion.
Save it for next pod.
Poor Feya Swamp. It's getting compared to everything. It's too expensive. It's not this. It's not that.
So one of the things that we kind of discussed as we were playing this is this question of using totems and other symbols and concepts that are from other cultures or different cultures than maybe the dominant culture who designed it. And so we just had a question about the totems and the uses of spirits on the island. So we didn't necessarily come to an answer about that, just kind of had this like question about whether or not it was appropriation and appropriate.
Yeah, I think it bears asking. I was like, I don't know that this game needed that exact thing in it. I think we're also really in tune as folks who live in the Pacific Northwest, where there is a fair amount of native totems, but also appropriation of totems by other folks. I think it's more on the top of our mind. Other people who don't interact may just be like, whatever, it's cool, it's a totem, here we go. But yeah, I don't know that I needed it. I don't know that it added anything specific to it. It could have been anything. Like you could have made that piece. It's integral to the game in terms of it's a points multiplier at different times, but it's not necessarily inherent to the thematic version of the game. So that is so integral that you couldn't like replace it if somebody had come by and said, why? We don't need that.
I was envisioning like, what if they were crystals, and then there would be even more fun pieces that the game came with, like the gems, but larger.
I was envisioning them being like chocolate factories, and then you have Willy Wonka as the little totem that you
Wait,
put out
that's
there to the.
That's an IP, Gillean.
I
They
know,
can't-
but still.
We just really want to play Sweetlands.
Yeah, exactly.
Feya Swamp, man. It's getting a short change.
I just think we're entering this fantasy world. Push yourselves a little bit harder, you know?
Yeah, try harder, Feya Swamp.
Well, I did like when we were talking about it before recording, Reed had brought up the alien artifacts in Revive, and I think that was a good example of doing something versus like a totem.
Those heads are hella ugly. You can also come up with something more beautiful than those. But
Okay, but they're kind
They
of
serve a,
pretty.
They're
serve
weird,
a purpose.
man. Yeah.
They're like, are they brains? Are they skulls? Are they things? Why are they artifacts? Because they're creatures? I don't even know.
They're alien artifacts. They're distributed on the Earth while you were stuck underground for millennia.
yeah, why they got them big old heads, I don't know. Again, Reed's favorite game. Don't ask me why.
It's a great game,
I don't
Angela.
know about that.
You're the one who's wrong.
It's no Feya Swamp, Becky.
Whoa. Whoa.
No,
Wow.
I'm kidding.
I mean, you can definitely buy it for less than 2 Feya Swamps.
It's like a solid 1.5.
It's a 1.5 Feya Swamp game.
When we first started playing this game, Gillian said something about like, oh, it's kind of like Terra Mystica. And then I was looking at some Board Game Geek reviews, and they're like, oh, it's like a mini Terra Mystica, or this is better than Terra Mystica. And I was like, wait, okay, Gillian's making faces right now. Some people have hot takes, okay? It wasn't me, nor Reed. But I do really like the guide card mechanic where you pick one, and then once the round is over, you put it back and you pick a different one, and then those get like fish or coins on them. And I know that Terra Mystica has that as well. And is this game also designed by the Terra Mystica guy?
The designers designed this as well as Terra Mystica. And to your point about like the choosing the guides to determine what passive benefit or action you have available to you, that is very similar. That's kind of taken from Terra Mystica, or Terra Mystica took it from their original game that Feya Swamp is a re-envisioning of. But in this game, it's interesting in this game because the guides determine your turn order as well. That's not something that was in Terra Mystica. And so that I find a fascinating thing.
Yeah, those guide cards are kind of, like if I'm thinking about it, one of the more interesting pieces of gameplay that there is, because the cards not only tell you your sail strength, so you'll have a variable amount of sail available to you. For instance, I didn't tend to go to cards with high sail, so I was always very limited in my early plays of how far I could sail, which was fine with me. But it also has the amount that you'll pay to the additional cost to build a building or build out part of the swamp and the lands. And I was like, holy crud, that really shaped how a lot of different people played. And then because it's also the determinant of who goes first, because they also have the turn order on the cards, I like that a lot because there were times where folks needed to make strategic decisions if they were going first or if they were okay with going last. And I think those were the two main push and pulls, was first or last. You really didn't care if you were somewhere in the middle probably, but like really need to go first, or I really need to go last, or I want to build so I can't have a 7 cost one even though it has the better bonus to it. And because there are more of those cards than with what you play with, there's some variability there. And I would say that's probably my favorite thing about the game, was I loved that dynamic of the cards and making those choices.
Gillian, are there other ways that you think this game kind of compares to Terra Mystica?
You place out hexes to build up your territory in a way. That's kind of the other main parallel I would draw to Terraform. Where's Terra Mystica? Otherwise, I feel like this game has. It's not. I wouldn't say it's that comparable. Honestly, it has some feeling to it that reminds me of Terra Mystica, but in terms of mechanics and mechanisms, I feel like this is its own thing.
There were a lot of parts of this game that I felt were unique to me. I think that the guide selection, the frustration that I had when I finally got the card that had the resources that I wanted, but then it was like 7 to build or something like that. I liked the turn order choices that you had to make. I don't know. I think that this game had a lot of intriguing parts that felt very cohesive.
In terms of like turn order, I think this game is a great example of why turn order really matters because a lot of this action spaces you can take have 4 spaces. The first 2 either provide you a benefit or are free, whereas the third and fourth spaces often require you to spend the gems that you collect during the game. And those are sometimes hard to come by. And so if you're not like first or second and everybody decides they want to do that same action, you're in a really tight spot of having to spend up to 2 gems to take that action. And that came about in a couple of times during our 2 plays, our 2 4-player plays. And I was thankful that I didn't often have to pay gems because I was often going first based on the guide that I chose. But yeah, turn order matters a lot in this game because there is no booting another player. It's just kind of classic worker placement of that space is blocked off. You have to go to the next space if it's available.
I had so many gems and no ability to build because you all were building, and then that little alligator guy was blocking the spots for Gillean to take multiple build actions, and Angela did it too. And so there were so many times where I'm like, I ended the game with like 5 or 6 of the little gemberry things, and I'm like, I could have done so much more with this.
That was my favorite Gillean move, being a cold-hearted jerkfaceosaurus. So he gets the card that allows you to block off 1 space, and you do that at the beginning. So you can go there any time during the round. And then, so on your first turn, you don't have to go there into that exact spot. So then he takes the build action. So now Gillean has blocked off the first build action, then used the second build action. So there's only 2 build spaces left, and there are 3 people remaining. So for a game where you also need to build things out because they're often tied to the end game goals or like objectives that you want to try and hit, not being able to build really sucks. And if you didn't take a card, or if you're not playing with the card that allows an extra build action on it, you're pretty screwed. Like, I got to a point where I didn't have an extra berry and I needed 2 berries to build. And I was like, I guess I'm not building. And it was the first round. And I was like, what the frickety frack?
I like games, even if they're so frustrating, where you do have to plan out all your turns to be able to get like the resources to do this. And in order to get resources in this game, it was like you had to get fish. Then you had to sell your fish. Then, no. Yes.
Yeah, sell your fish.
Yeah, sell your fish.
And then build settlements.
And there were so many times that I was like, that's like 3 different moves. You only have 3 guys the first round.
Yeah.
And you have to get the fish that are the fish that you can fish on that turn.
Or that round.
That round. So then, like, if blue fish are the only things you can fish and you're over in the red and yellow area, good luck. Good luck, you ain't gonna get no fish.
Also, I tried in the first game to go far away to spread out on the board, and then you all huddled up, and so I had not only the ability to not move very far, but I was not benefiting from your fish parties ever.
And then you were always dismayed when nobody would sell fish to your settlement.
So mean.
Well, nobody's going to visit
I know,
you.
but even when you guys were next to me, you'd be like, oh, I'm going to go to this spot that's just like 1 away from you.
No, I love that in the second game, you were like, do you guys not sell fish to me because you hate me or because I build by myself? It's the latter.
It felt pointed.
One aspect that I really enjoy about this game is I didn't talk about the rules explanation, but your player board, you have 4 different tracks that are occupied by settlements. As you construct settlements, you get to choose which of the 4 tracks you pull from. You pull from the leftmost one. And as you go farther along each of those 4 different sections, you'll unlock additional abilities. It may be income that you collect at the beginning of a round, or it might be a passive benefit to... I guess it'd be the income phase, but you could get a gem or something like that. Or you'll unlock workers, or you'll unlock your final ship. And determining where and when you construct settlements and where you pull them from is very much important in the game. And I found that so difficult because you can't do everything. You have to focus on which ones you want to unlock. And that is a tough decision to make during the game, I think.
I do enjoy the player boards. I think they're very simple, but in a good thinky way. You really only are thinking about which settlements are you taking away for what are you going to gain from that. And I definitely, I think that's the thing I struggled the most with looking at it. Like, do I need more fish or do I need to get more income? I needed both. And I think in the second game, I made some really poor choices. I never upgraded my worm icons, which they're a multiplier for how many fish you get. So when I did the fishing action, I got 3 fish because I had 3 boats. So one for each boat. And you guys are over here getting so many fish.
It was so sad, Becky.
It was really
It was
sad.
only sadder when Reed went fishing and she got 2 fish.
I know, but then she was like, oh, wait, actually, I have this worm and this other worm, so now I have 9.
Yeah, but she didn't realize that till
maybe
later.
that's- Yeah, I did. I did collect more fish.
But I thought that was really a fun aspect of the game to try to determine when or which section to build from. I usually opted for getting my workers first so I could take additional actions. But then that comes with the caveat of if I have more workers, I'm often having to spend gems to take actions, which isn't always great.
There are a lot of different moves in this game, and the core actions that you take are really lovely. Like, it is a fun play. It's enjoyable to get income off of placing your fish, and it's amazing how much money that you can get off of doing that. Each fish that you place, if it's the first one down, is 4, then the next one stacked on top is 3, then 2. And so you can get $9 by just filling up one fish. And it's amazing to be like, oh, I did like 6 fish this time. And I thought that was just a really fun way to produce income.
And it's a balancing act, right? So every time you put fish on somebody else's tile, the first fish is worth more, then the second is worth slightly less, and then the third is worth the least. But you can fill up all of these other. The caveat is that if you place fish on your own tile, you don't get any money for it. But if somebody has a giant fish party and you've put a bunch of fish on other people's tiles, when somebody has a fish party, they're going to score how many tiles the fish are on. And then every person who has a tile with fish on it are then going to get points. So in order to get the money, you have
People needed to put fish on my tiles.
well,
Apparently
other
not.
people's tiles.
Apparently not, Reed.
Maybe you should build
My
better
tiles.
and better places. Not just
Also, at the end, Angela made a fish run of her own tiles so that you would get all the victory points.
yeah.
That was pretty amazing.
I didn't need money anymore. I had so much money. We only had 1 turn left. And so, I mean, it didn't help me win in any sort of way, but I was like, screw you guys. These fish points are my fish points. And also, if you have fish on your board at the end of the game, they're worth nothing. So, ooh, girl, you better be putting them fish out on the board.
But on your tiles.
Well, yeah, unless you want money. Then you got to put it on the money tiles. And then you just got to make sure they're not Gillean's tiles.
You mean Reed's tiles?
Yeah.
Hey, there was definitely some conspiring here.
Speaking of Gillean, how did he beat us by 100 points?
I don't know. We were in a race to see if he would lap me, and he did.
I did
lot.
for a
Yeah.
split second, and then
Yeah.
you went past again. I think this game I really enjoy the flow of it. Like, I enjoy the worker placement, thinking ahead, trying to decide how you're going to do things in what order. And I just really enjoyed it, I think. And I don't know what it was about it, but I think it just clicked for me in terms of how to do things efficiently.
There is an element of samesies that we've talked about with this game, which is you do the same things over and over again. You fish, you have fish parties, you build, all of these different things. But that doesn't mean I didn't like it. I actually really enjoyed it. And sometimes in a game, the actions, the aesthetics, all of the things that are on the table are a good time, even if it's not a most thrilling brain burner. Sometimes you just want to put fish on tiles.
When we were standing around after the second game, I did say that I found this game a little boring, and then that's when you had started to talk about it a little samey. And I think for me, I'm not super excited thinking about what I'm going to be doing on my next turn. And I think some of it is that a lot of things can change from when I last played to what actions are even available for me to take, or who has put fish where, or who has built to block you, not on purpose, but maybe on purpose. But I think with this game, both games were over 2 hours for the 4-player games. And so I just think for me, I was like, what's something else I can look at or think about? Could I have been a little more efficient on my turns? Probably, if I had thought a little bit harder. But I think I did pretty well.
Yeah, it's pretty long for a medium weight game, for sure. Like, when we talk about, did we play Feya Swamp as long as we played Luthier? And you're like, huh, that's weird. That was just a game where we went fishing, but they were the same amount of time. And that's not what I expect out of a medium weight game. And so I think folks who... I think it's a delightful medium weight game. I think people will be surprised about the amount of time that they need to do, but it'll find somebody's home for sure.
I think that this game at an hour and a half would be perfect. I think we played a little longer than the recommended time, and I get that the first time you play, that's always going to be longer, but I didn't think we were being slow on the other plays as we got better.
And I would say, like, even though this seemed to run long for a medium weight game, I didn't have an issue with it really, because I felt like the time passed like fine. It wasn't like I wasn't in Becky's state of trying to find something else to do where I was waiting for my turn. I was trying to think it out. I was actively engaged in what other people were doing, honestly. But it was funny because one thing I had thought during the game that reminded me of Ostia actually was Angela was trying to figure out how many spaces her boat can move, so she was like counting the hexes, moving her finger like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then would move it. It was funny. Reminded me of Ostia.
I don't know if we mentioned this as much, but one of the strategies that I also took was trying to get to the temples a lot, and I feel like I did that first and faster and ended up getting a lot of victory points from that. But then you can only go to the temple once, and I was far away from some of the last ones, so I think I didn't quite get all of them.
Yeah, and the temples provide victory points generally anywhere between like 2 and 5, I think, or maybe 2 and 6.
2 and 12.
Wait, what?
I think I got a 12. Angela got a 12 today.
A single tile?
No, I got
it was
2 tiles that came together to form 12.
Maybe
Yeah.
there was a 7. There was definitely
Okay.
a 7.
Well, you get like some range of victory points and or resources. But what makes those worth more potentially is that each game you shuffle up these objective cards, these race cards is what they're called, that are designated as what objectives that you're aiming for, essentially. And there are spaces 1 through 4 in a 4-player game, from like highest points to lowest points. And so if you're the first to get there, you'll get 15 points. If you're the second, you'll get 10, so on and so forth. And some of them are relevant to different aspects of the game, one of which is whoever gets the first to like 3 different temple tokens, then you'll be able to score that objective. And so that's another aspect that wasn't in our last game, where I think you got a lot of the temple tiles, but can certainly come into play.
I mean, Gillian came in first on all of the race objectives, and then I came in second place, which means there was a difference of 15 points. I think I lost by 9,000. So
No, 90.
it was a lot. So I think there is some variability in the game. In fact, I think I was playing a strategy that would have worked better with the objectives and end tiles in the other game we had played. And then that didn't translate because the tiles and the objectives were different. So I think this game is really for people who like a midweight game, who like it maybe a little bit on the heavier side because it is going to take a little bit longer. So you have to be paying a little bit more attention. I could see folks who aren't used to playing medium weight games like this maybe isn't the first foray I would take into that with them, just because it's a really long amount of time. And if you're used to playing, or your game group's used to playing in 60 minutes, this could just be a little bit longer. But I thought it was a really solid game for folks who really enjoy medium weight. I don't know if that means it's for me. I don't think I would turn down a play, because I really enjoyed like going around. I think there's so much more to explore in it, but I don't think it's a game I would put in my own collection.
Okay, so Gillian and I will play 2 players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll play.
Yeah, we literally said we would play.
Begrudgingly.
No, begrudgingly is when I play Revive.
Oh, sick burn.
Okay, wait. I do want to go back to
Or
just
Tuluva.
talking. Yeah.
that's really true.
Yeah. But you finally understand it.
Sure.
You said you did.
Also lose by 90 million points in that
No,
game,
you're
too.
going to do better.
Becky, you're
Angela-
too good at that game.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like Gillian.
We now finally
Is-
understand it.
Wait, is this what Gillian feels like?
Yeah.
Come on, you guys.
Give you more
Come on, Becky.
adulation
Play
for
viticulture with
Tuluva.
me.
I'm eating Tuluva. I don't know what's going on.
No, I do Okay, I do understand. I'm just like, I just want you guys to play this game with me because I love it so much,
see?
but I'm really good at it.
Yeah,
so
see?
that sucks. Okay.
Okay, somebody's not
See,
going
yeah, and
first
somebody-
in Everdell anytime soon.
And somebody refuses to play viticulture with me for why? For what
There is
reason?
a new expansion that has not gotten to the table.
Bordeaux.
Okay.
Boarded.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, since you said that, I also was really excited when Gillian said efficiently, and I wanted to be like, efficiently. But we jumped in too early. Okay, but back to the time thing. Do midway games just take longer? Is this like Angela being out of touch with board game prices? Are we out of touch with like how long a midway game should be?
Oh, interesting question. Like
Yeah.
we've skewed ourselves so hard that we play like shorter trick takers and then like longer Vitellicerta crunchy level games, and then there is no middle.
Well,
like
like-
the limit does not exist.
Like, how long is a game of Kanban EV?
I think for us it's like 2:45 maybe.
So I think
So that's like 1.5 Feya swamps, but the cost is like 5 Feya swamps.
yes, but your brain is like excited and working the whole time. Not that you always want that, but like, I don't know. Are we off on the time factor? I mean, but maybe it's okay to have a personal opinion about how long a game should take, because there are like the perfect midweight games that are like an hour to an hour and a half.
When we play a lot of the shorter trick taker games, there is so much joy and engagement that we have with each other sitting around the table that even though they come in maybe like 20 to 40 minute bursts, it is so much fun. And so I love that when we do that. I love some of the heavier games where my brain burns. And I think with a midweight game, I struggle because I'm not getting the brain burning and I'm not getting the joy and interaction with each other in the same way. And so I don't know if that's because of the game weight or what it offers, but it is interesting to think about the time that you spend with them.
So as you guys were talking, I was looking at Board Game Geek and what people were saying about like midweight games, and I think it just varies. Like a midweight game can be long. Like it really comes down to rules complexity and what you're looking for. It doesn't need to fall into a specific window of time. So I don't know. I enjoy Feya Swamp for what it is, and I enjoy midweight games that kind of run long generally, and I don't think I need every game to challenge me like and drain me from my mental capacity, and I just enjoy kind of the fluidity of the games, of the midweight games, some midweight games I should say, and enjoy the flow, like the ebb and flow of the game and interacting with its mechanisms. So I'm content having a midweight game that goes like 2 hours.
But not all midweight games that go 2 hours.
I know. I'm just saying, like, I don't think time necessarily is a deciding factor as to whether or not I'll like a game or not.
Man, this really is the year of us finding our midweight, like, are midweight games mid is a question we ask sometimes, and I wonder if we're like, maybe it's us, we're the problem. And so we're really on a journey of self-discovery of midweight games. Reed, which one's crunchier, the White Castle or Feya Swamp? Bonus points, harkening back to our trivia, if you can tell me what is the rating on BGG.
I don't know the rating, but I think Feya Swamp is crunchier than the White Castle.
That is correct. It is 3.12, and the White Castle is 3.06.
Whoa.
So it's not by very much. It's like somebody exhaled too hard.
Okay, but the White Castle is like a fine wine or perfectly composed dish. The White Castle is nearly a perfect game.
Okay, I think that's where I struggle, right? Like if these two are like the same weight and you compare the White Castle to Feya Swamp, like it is like a fine wine. And I think those are the mid games I like. The midweight games. I want a fine wine in my midweight game.
Wow. But I think that does tell us something about how you enjoy them versus how Gillean likes them. And I will say Gillean has a very discerning palate, but he is also a lover of fine wines and cheeses, and also will like go to the grocery store and dig in the trash bin for cheese and be like, this is just as good cheese. No, that doesn't, that
Wait.
analogy didn't work.
Yeah, also, no, that was rude to Feya Swamp. Too,
No,
in other
but
games.
like, where
You're saying Feya Swamp is trash cheese?
No, I'm saying I think I'm saying more like Gillean enjoys cheeses on a wide spectrum, a fine spectrum of wines, a fine spectrum.
I like
of
blue
cheeses.
cheese. Angela does not.
I do not. But
That's Revive.
Becky's like, hey, if
That's
I'm going to
true.
eat cheese, I want to eat really, really nice cheese. Or if I'm going to have a wine, I want this really, really nice wine. And Gillian's like, I will take this wine that tastes a little like vinegar, and I will take this wine that is a Chardonnay, because those are inherently terrible. And like,
Says you.
yep, absolutely. So you have a palate that accepts them all. And Becky, I think your palate is much more like, I only want to imbibe this in a very specific way, and that way is the White Castle.
I don't understand why she likes I Love Cats though.
Well,
freaking
that's
love that
lightweight.
game.
Lightweight games are very different. I'm here for a good time, not a brain time.
Isle of Cats takes like 15 Feya Swamps time.
Yes, it
It's
does.
the longest game I've ever played in my life.
True.
Yeah.
It also costs Feya Swamp cost, or
Well,
I
yeah,
think
more.
I think
like
the
base
Kickstarter
game's
was like a few Feya
Well, I think
Swamps.
the base game's like $60 or something. So
Oh.
all
I
those
feel like
tiles, man.
polyominoes get their own little world over here in the corner.
Hey,
I
that's
agree.
not fair.
Thank you.
You're just dismissing my condemnation of Becky's love of Isle of Cats.
She is a unique being, Gillian. Cherish and worship her.
Thank you.
The boots are
Like
dumb.
a fish. Got it.
Oh my god.
Wait, what about boots?
I do not like the boots.
She doesn't understand the boots.
Oh, an Isle of Cats. Yeah.
And then when we explained it, then she just only took boots.
You don't need 17 pairs of boots.
Reed
It was
does.
16. Stop exaggerating.
She
Stop exaggerating. It
only
was
got
16.
boots and no baskets, so she went first for no reason.
Guys, if you haven't played Isle of Cats, you don't understand how silly that is. But let me tell you, it's real silly.
All right, I think we.
I just want to say, at least Reed got fish in Feya Swamp. That's all I have to say.
Good job, Reed.
That's true.
Okay, I struggled the second game. It was not good for me.
Becky got 3 fish that one time.
And I did it again for another 3. I look forward to playing more midway games this year, to figuring out what my palette is, and answering the question, is it us or is it midway games?
It's probably just you.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely just you.
Literally not just me.
No, I know. We dogged a lot of people sitting around this table, dogged Wondrous Creatures for being too long. I thought that was a pleasant play.
Okay, is it just me and Becky on this train then? You know what? Choo-choo, jerk faces. We're coming down the mountain and we're rolling over midway games.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
They're fine.
take that, fishes. Thank you for listening to Board Game Homies. Catch a game with us on Board Game Arena or follow along with us on Instagram, Blue Sky, or Board Game Geek. Bye, fishes.
Do you want ants? Because this is how you get ants.
Yeah, man. Are we the worst for hiding them from Ashton?
Okay, well, no, she said she was going to listen back to the podcast to hear her voice.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't let her.
No, it's fine. Angela will accidentally let it slip at some point. Like, oh yeah, cake was really good. We had it.
No, I know how not to get in trouble.
Okay, now we're ready.